Hi.
Thanks for this.
No, pleasure, mate.
Look at the set. I've actually.
This is superb.
I've made it messy.
No, not in the slightest. It's normally far worse than this.
I'm sorry.
No, good as gold, mate.
And please, if I make mistakes, if I say something that's not right in English, just help me, correct me, because my husband doesn't do that.
Your English is better than my English.
It's all right, but it's not that good.
I'll correct you, don't worry.
He's not very good.
No, you can't correct, because then it'll turn into an argument, and then that's a problem. And I don't need that. We don't need that on Saturday night. We're going to go out for a nice drink after this.
Fair enough.
Welcome to the Crossing the Pond podcast, hosted by me, Gary Adair, where each week our guests will recount their own experiences of resilience and transformation, whether it's moving to a new country, tackling health challenges, changing careers, or breaking through personal barriers. For today's episode, we're joined by Jim Whelan and his wife, Maira Gorozabel, a couple whose story spans continents and cultures. Jim first met Maira in Ecuador while travelling through South America, and after 16 months living in Quito together, their journey truly began. From Ecuador to England, and now the US, each move has brought its own challenges and triumphs. Over the years, their relationship has been rooted in deep respect and a commitment to growing together through change, and as parents of two, they built a life that blends traditions and holds tight to what matters most, to keep them evolving without losing foundations.
All these episodes have been about people it started off with people come over here.
Yeah.
So then it started off like, I started to do it with friends, and then, like I said to you before, I've started to try and get people who I don't know, maybe don't know as well. But the funny thing about you two guys is that you're not from here, neither of you.
Yeah.
You've only recently come here, and you didn't meet here either. So what was the story? Like, can you give me the timeline of where you first met?
Oh, Jesus. This is going to be the first argument here.
Okay.
If we disagree on this story. So I was like, 32. I've been working in London for like 7-8 years.
Right.
And I'd always wanted to go to South America. Always wanted to. Study about it at university and school and stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to travel to South America. And then basically this lad I used to play football with, he wanted to travel at the same time. So I was like, right, bang, we're doing it. So we went. Plan was to go for 8 months. First stop was, Trinidad and Tobago, but then we flew from there to Ecuador. And we loved Ecuador. And we weren't even travelling at this point. We were just on the piss, basically, for 2 weeks solid, like the two of us. And then we spent 2 weeks in Quito, and we were like, right, we've got to move on now. Like, we've got to do something else. Like, we're having a whale of a time, but, like, we've got to start travelling. So on the last night, we're like, right, we'll go to every one of our favourite bars and,
Say goodbye.
Where the best looking barmaids were and stuff like that. So I was probably about 12 pints in. And then we finished at our favourite bar. And we're sitting at the bar, the two of us, having a laugh and whatever. And then I hear this girl in Spanish behind me talking with the barmaid who my mate fancied the pants off.
Right.
Talking about their tits. So I'm like, God. Hearing into this conversation. No. You do your version in a bit.
You can come back on this.
So I'm like listening into this conversation, translating everything for my mate with my back to her. We're pissing ourselves, and eventually she clocks that we're talking about them, and then she starts talking to me, and then one thing sort of led to another, didn't it? And then you seduced me, and that's sort of like...
So can we get the truth now?
That is exactly. The truth.
First of all, I have to say that I was sober. I got there because my friend, the bartender, she was my friend.
Okay.
And I used to work in the same area, so it was quite close to where I used to work. And I got there, and this guy and other gringos were there drinking. And I was just having a beer, and then I got home. So we were talking about plastic surgery, not tits. What he said is not true.
Same sort of thing.
It was plastic surgery. And we were talking about that because a friend of ours had something. And,
yeah, okay.
Anyway, we were just talking about her, and I was quite confident that he couldn't understand anything. The
gringos.
Yeah, the gringos. Mm. So, but then I kind of saw him like smiling, and we were sitting next to each other, but kind of back to back, not like... I couldn't see him. I couldn't see his face. And, and then I thought, I think he can understand what we are saying here. I'm pretty sure that he can understand me. And I asked him to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
In Spanish, of course. And, ¿tú hablas español? And he said, very well.
That'd have just been like, see. At that point.
He's so full of...
Was he laughing at the right time? Was that what it was? Was like, you would say something and he would
always
laugh?
said like,
yeah.
boobies, whatever. He was like,
what is that in Spanish?
Tetas.
Tetas?
Yeah.
I did know that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just testing.
There you go. Best words, mate.
I don't know why.
So, or I don't know, like nalgas,
Okay.
And then I knew that he was paying attention to our conversation. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
What was your first impression outside of being a gringo and understanding Spanish? What was your first impression of Jim?
And so you really think.
It's all about honesty. Listen, very honesty. Yeah. You're in your own home. You can say what you want.
He was handsome, of course. And
Handsome. Right now.
yeah, I really liked his smile, truly. But I didn't realise that he was drunk already,
I'll hold that well then.
honestly. And then also I thought that he was cute. His accent was lovely.
So that was how we met, and then spent the night together.
Do you have to say that?
Walking round, right? Sightseeing. It was your last night. You had to see where you need, things that maybe you'd missed out on.
Yeah.
That's what you're on about, right?
Yeah, definitely. Left the next morning, and then me and my mate basically left Quito.
Right.
And then we got to the next town, and they still got this stupid law in Ecuador. So when the elections are on, and this is the time of the elections, we got there, and basically you can't buy booze for like 3 days, like either side of the elections, to basically stop people just like messing up their slips or whatever, I suppose. So we're basically,
Sure.
It's quite a good system, actually.
Oh, sorry?
Yeah, you've got
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's not
Yeah.
optional.
So
know that.
we got to this hostel, and we couldn't get a drink anywhere. So we're like, what the f*** do we do now? So I was like, tell you what, I might give that girl a call. So I buzzed her number. She gave me her number, but now I couldn't remember her name. So her housemate answers, and I was like, is Maita there? Maita? And her roommate's like, sorry, who? And then I think Mirta, and then I think she clocked eventually, it was Maira, and then you got on the phone. Long story short, she basically got a bus down to see us. We spent like 3 days together, and that sort of like ballooned from there. We carried on travelling, obviously, so we didn't see each other for like 4 or 5 months. Then my mate basically ran out of money.
Right.
So we had to go home like after 4 months, and I was like...
No, you're forgetting something. You went back to Quito after 2 weeks, remember?
Oh, yeah, we went back to Quito.
You two want to go back there because Dominic was... he was interested in this girl.
I wanted to call it, didn't he?
So, yeah, they agreed that they want to go back to Quito. And I said, okay,
Yeah,
come
that's
and
right,
stay here. So, yeah, they were quite shameless.
Yeah, we stayed with you for 2 or 3 weeks, didn't we? Yeah, so I forgot that.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Mooch.
Yeah.
Mooching.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Were you surprised that because South America does get a lot of tourists, like the packers, and people go like, I know people who've been, go to Peru or they go to Ecuador. Were you surprised that there was English guys over there that spoke Spanish as well? Or is it common for...
It's not very common.
For tourists to speak?
We all know that gringos don't really make an effort and learn to speak Spanish or any other languages. British people, I'm not lying here.
No.
So
exactly.
it was quite strange. And I really like the fact that he could speak Spanish very well. And I thought that he was very interesting.
Yeah. And apart from the obvious hospitality, the 2 weeks, 3 digs, what made you feel comfortable about staying? Because you've got a plan, right? I know you can't leave, and that's another thing. But did you feel comfortable about staying in Quito at that point for those extra 2-3 weeks when maybe it wasn't on the schedule?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as you do when you're backpacking, you have like the tour guides and all this, and they all say like avoid these places, but it never felt unsafe there at all. It was only basically after doing the rest of the travelling, my mate ran out of money. I then went back to Quito because I'm 32 years old. I'm not going to go travelling on the trail when it's like a load of 20-year-old Tarquins, right? It's just going to do my fucking head in. So I ended up just going back to Ecuador instead and spending the last few months there. Then I had to go back to the UK, ran out of money. And then obviously by this point we'd been together like properly for about 5 months. So I was like, yeah, she's the one I want to be with. So I ended up going back over there and living there for 16 months. And even that, it was like, felt completely safe, like no issues. But the irony was one of my best mates from back home I've known for like since we were 12 years old. He was then travelling around South America with his missus. So he's like, right, we're going to come and stay with you for Christmas. So I'm like, perfect, mate. You'll love it. It's completely safe.
Did you know about this?
Yeah.
Oh, you're all right?
Yeah.
No,
it's no issue at all.
All right.
And then they came round to our house. They were staying in a hostel somewhere, had a few beers. We then went out, and literally that night, these two fucking geezers like basically came at us with what we thought were guns, like under their shirts. So there's me telling my mate, yeah, nothing to worry about. Literally, as soon as we've stepped out of the house, boom, there you go. And it sort of escalated a bit after that. I think over the next 3 months, that happened to me 4 or 5 times.
Oh, really?
And one time properly. And that was like, it was at that point, I'm like, I'm not really sure I want to stay long term now.
Neighbourhood.
Yeah. It was like literally 2 blocks from where we lived.
I think that's because you were there though then. But people knew you were, kind of. Because if you're there 16 months, people know.
Yeah, I think the issue was, it was where we lived was like the main sort of party district, is where all the bars and clubs were. It's not where she lived originally, but it was sort of my condition.
Yeah,
like, if I'm going to move back, then I want to be where all life is, rather than stuck on the outskirts on my own, right? Because otherwise I'd only know her and no one else. So at least I had the chance to meet other people and find a bar and stuff like that. So it's definitely a dodgy area in that respect. But, you know, the problem is over there I stood out like a sore thumb. I'm like 6'3", which is probably like 9 inches taller than any other Ecuadorian. Right. I've got luminous skin, so it's just, you might as well just paint a target on my face. So
that's funny. So you're there for 16 months. So you get to, it's not just the cute accent and the nice smile and everything else. What did you start noticing about living with an English guy for that amount of time? When you settle down and it's, I'm saying the romance is gone, because it's not, but like after a while,
it's gone.
It's gone now. 16 months, we're probably just about still, right? It's definitely gone now.
But like, you're a lot more comfortable with each other. Like, what sort of things did you start noticing about him, like as an Englishman, that he was doing that maybe Ecuadorians wouldn't normally do?
He was very respectful. I love that. He was...
Oh, it's a good thing out the gate.
Yeah, good manners.
Yeah. Jesus. Should do this more.
So, yeah, very respectful. Not just, to me, but everybody.
Yeah.
And he was someone that I could present to my family, my friends. And it was good. And also, he showed respect when just paying attention to me, not other girls. And there were some pretty girls around. And that's the difference between you guys, British guys, and Ecuadorians or Latinos. Because, gosh.
Always on beanstalks.
So you know about the reputation, and I can't tell you. It's true. I can confirm that.
Okay.
And I love that he was with me and seemed quite happy with it.
So that's all the positive stuff, and that's all really nice. But was there anything that was like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? Was there anything he would do that you just like scratching your head going, I don't understand this?
You know what it feels like to be in love.
Yeah.
It's like you can only see what's good, what's positive.
Right.
The other person. No, I don't remember seeing anything that was concerning or, negative. Can't remember.
Well, we'll stay on the positives. I'm sure the negatives.
Can't remember. Yeah, then I could see the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there are definitely differences, even right from the very start.
When you go meet the family, listen, speaking Spanish, like they literally walk and go, oh, nice, and then go, wow.
It was a little bit of that, yeah. It was that, and then also my accent, like my Spanish accent, because I learned Spanish in Spain.
Oh,
so the accent's different to South America, so they'd call me like Españolito, my little Spanish boy, because I'd have like the
okay,
which they don't do in South America. So yeah, there was definitely that. I think like the biggest thing for me, which is still an issue, and it's never going to stop being an issue with us, is the punctuality versus mañana. Like the mañana thing is just so true. Like in Ecuador, they're late for everything. You've been late for weddings.
My own wedding.
I hate being late for stuff.
Weddings.
I hate being late for stuff, and I think it's a very, very British trait. And that's the one thing that I think right from the very start probably wound both of us up about each other, and still does this. Still does this.
Because
it's never going to change.
I get really, really annoyed when he's trying to get me to any place, and he's like, "But we have to be there, now in 10 minutes, and hurry up. Really annoys me.
Yeah, but I'm doing it 2 hours after we should have been.
I try. It's not like I enjoy being, the way I am. I do wish I was better than this, but it's hard for me to be punctual.
Why is that? I'm not qualified to ask this question, probably. Sorry, mate.
I'd love to know the answer to it.
Do you get distracted by
I
things?
do. I try to do many things at the same time, and I can't manage to do any of them properly. So I get distracted very easily, and I do try my best, but
it's all you can do.
And I was going to say that my sister is not like that. My sister is quite different to me, so it's not like it's my family or it's my culture. No, it's me. That's the problem here.
What do you struggle with then? 16 months. What are you doing when you're there?
So, mate, honestly, when I went there, I had nothing lined up. It was like, it's so unlike me. It was basically going for love, which is, I'm the least romantic person in the world. She'll tell you that.
I confirm.
So,
yeah.
Honestly, I remember I flew to Quito via Miami, and I went outside and had a cigarette at Miami airport, and I sort of had a bit of a panic attack because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm quite a sensible bloke, and this is just so off the radar for me in terms of like the way I behave. So I didn't have anything lined up. But then when I got over there, basically when I'd been back in the UK between travelling and then going back, because I ran out of money, I ended up like working with this guy who used to work for me at the company I worked at before I went travelling. So I basically just went in, got a job straight away, won them a load of business, then went back to Ecuador. And then he got in touch about 3 days later and he said, Jim, you won too much business. Is there any chance you could freelance and do some of it over there? So he's golden, mate. Honestly, it's absolutely golden. Like, they didn't pay me a UK wage, but you didn't have to in Ecuador. So I was living like a king over there, working from home.
No wonder I get robbed.
Yeah, exactly. But that was probably the biggest issue as well, is like not knowing anyone. So I knew her, but the first few months it was like, oh my God, this is literally the other side of the world. I've got no connection to my culture, the comedy, the humour. So the first 3 months, I just find myself like watching Peep Show on like repeat, basically, just to have some sort of connection to the humour. But then like found a football team, found my local bar, and then after that it was golden. It was just honestly, it was only the security thing at the end that really like forced us to basically move back to the UK.
It's just the language thing would be the one thing that would kill a lot of people, wouldn't it? Because not being able to understand what's going on. Yeah. Even if you met a girl who you fall in love with, not speak. I can only imagine, like, if I lived here now and I was in that same situation, I would struggle because you would have to learn fast. But even learning, having a base or having a decent amount of it helps you.
Oh, massively.
Is there any other expats over there? Like, is there any sort of...
There was a Canadian guy I was really good mates with. He was married to an Ecuadorian who was, oh God, she was a bloody nutcase, wasn't she? So we would like...
Well, she
was good. She was lovely. She was.
But we'd almost have like therapy sessions, like, going out with these Ecuadorian girls and like just comparing notes, basically. So he was a really good lad. But there weren't that many. Like, most were like American business people, not people actually living there. But no, I got, in the end, I ended up having a good group of Ecuadorian mates, like the lads I played football with.
Okay.
Like they were brilliant.
So you played over there?
Yeah,
yes,
So what was that like? That's a good one. Because it's not your average Sunday pub team.
No, I absolutely loved it. Basically, we went to this gym. Long story, there was this Irish guy who ran... What's the restaurant? He ran a restaurant, and I got to know him at a bar.
We had parties.
Yeah, exactly, where we had our wedding party. And then he opened up this gym with a couple of other. It was a Kiwi lad. What was his name?
Nick.
Some other fella, I think. So anyway, we started going to this gym, like me mainly, just to go and do some exercise and meet some people, right? But then there was this form on the front desk saying, "Oh, we're starting a football team." So I was like, I put my name down there. Turned up for trials, and literally all these Ecuadorian lads were laughing at me because they're like, who's this gringo? I think they thought I was American, and obviously the reputation Americans can't play football, right? Mm-hmm. And back then I could still play a bit, like my knee hadn't gone. So
what position did you play?
So it was only like 6 or 7 aside, but I'd play just dead at the back, like just destroy it, basically. But turn up for trials, I got the ball, took it past a few people, and they're like, oh, you can actually play a bit. So then we played in this local league. We played in the semi-finals. We won that. And then I had to go back to the UK for a business meeting. So I missed the final. But it was such a nice touch. They won it. And then they all called me, like they're all on the piss. It was about midnight in the UK. I picked up and they're like, Jim, this is for you. And they're all like going at it in the background.
That's cool.
It was so good. But I can't. This one photo I wish I still had. It's just hilarious. It's like basically the team lineup, and it just goes because they're all like 5'6", skillful as anything, diving everywhere. Most of the games ended up in a fight. Absolutely loved it. Playing at 2,800 meters altitude, volcanoes in the background. Everyone just be having beers afterwards. It was great. I absolutely loved it. And just a top bunch of lads. They all turned up at our wedding and stuff, didn't they? Just proper salt the earth.
That must have settled you down.
Yeah,
because of the local
massively.
So then, after 16 months, at what point, or was that the turning point that you both decided to move to England?
Probably the main thing was that last mugging, wasn't it? That was what did it for me.
Well, yeah. We talked about getting married. We were sure that we wanted to get married and have children together.
Okay.
And I have two sons.
Yeah, 2 sons.
And I was already separated, but getting a divorce when I first met him, and I had my first son. And I could see how good he was, him. And I just thought that he was going to be a great father. And decided to have children, and it was all good. And we weren't in a hurry. But then when he talked to me about wanting to go back to England, everything changed because we talked to our lawyer, to remember, just to make sure that we did everything right so we could move there without any problems. Mainly because we were going to do that with my son, and he wasn't his, so, And,
that was drama, wasn't it?
And this person, said that it was a good idea to get married there as soon as possible before applying for a visa or anything.
Yeah. Now, how was that though? Did it feel, obviously that's rushed, isn't it, if you're getting forced to do it? But did you feel confident enough that going to England would be a good move for you?
It was going to be temporary.
Yeah.
I thought that it was going to be just for a couple of years, and I was quite happy with that. I thought it was going to be a great opportunity, not just for myself, but for my son, because I thought, wow, it's going to be great for him to go to school over there and learn the language and, and different culture. So I was very excited because I thought it was going to be just
What did your family say?
My mum was quite upset. She wasn't okay with that.
Yeah.
Obviously, she understood that it was my decision and it was a good opportunity for Martin and me.
Yeah,
so,
and also because you say it was going to be temporary at the time.
Yeah, that was the idea. The idea was to, live in England for maybe 3 years and then go back to Ecuador. So I just didn't know that we're going to
be there
stay there,
for as long as you've been doing
long
it.
time.
So what's that like then? So obviously the immigration side of it's a bit of a hurdle to get over. What's it like the day that you move? Like, did you have stuff? Did you do send all the stuff with you, or did you have something set up in England?
We
just packed suitcases and went.
Yeah,
pretty much. My mum was brilliant because she basically worked in Amersham, which is where we ended up moving back. My hometown was about half hour north of there, but she worked there on the council, so sorting out schools for him and everything, helping us find a flat and everything. She was just dynamite. So we had all that sorted, but we literally just brought suitcases, didn't we? And then just had to start from scratch. Because I had nothing there because I didn't have a house there.
Yeah.
Chucked anything I did have. When I went travelling, there was a few bits up in, I think, my dad's attic, but that was it.
How's your English at that point?
Didn't speak a word.
Oh, so because you've gone to South America with, relatively fluent in comparison to obviously me, super gringo over here. But you've gone to England, no English.
No,
how was that for you though? That would be the scenario that we just talked about.
It was very difficult.
When you first went over, I wasn't even there, was I? When you met my mum and my sister, that was hilarious.
Right. I got there, and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were there already, waiting for me.
Right.
And of course, I was speaking Spanish. They were speaking English. We kind of understood each other, but weren't speaking the same language. And it was funny. It was, but I could see that they were lovely. They were. I mean, I'm very lucky to have a wonderful mother-in-law. I'm not saying this because, you know.
Yeah, because you're on the camera. And there's a
People listening to
microphone.
it. So I love her. His mom is she's such an amazing person. She's a very lovely person. And she's always been very kind to me and my son. So, but it was very difficult. It was really challenging getting there without speaking the language. I had to go to the local college to learn English. I did that for a couple of years.
How was that?
It was fun because I really like it.
Was the people in the same situation as you? Spanish speaking or different speaking from different countries?
It was, what is the name of that course? Spanish for, it was a second language.
Like ESL?
Yeah.
ESL?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
were there any shows, like English television shows that you would watch to try and learn? Because I watch, and I don't learn anything, but I watch Univision for the Spanish football, so I can try and pick up.
Yeah.
You know what?
So when I'm coaching, I can.
I was completely isolated there.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't have any friends at all, but I wasn't speaking my language with anyone.
Okay.
So, and we didn't have any Spanish channels or anything. So it was English all the time, every day.
So was there one thing that you would watch that would maybe EastEnders? I'm just thinking EastEnders.
Yeah,
it was EastEnders actually.
Okay, if you watch TV, you know, to improve your English, just try not to watch don't watch EastEnders. It's the worst.
It's depressing.
They were having a laugh, but it was quite funny actually because I remember you making fun of me and our telenovelas being so dramatic, and then I'm like, but it's the same shit, it's the same rubbish. I mean, it's
very true.
Yeah,
it's much more depressing,
dramatic.
like you say.
Yeah,
so it was like it was funny, and but no, I just tried to watch anything. Really.
Did you? How did your son manage it? How did your son do?
He did very well.
How old was he?
He's 22 now.
No, how old was he?
He was 7.
7, yeah.
Oh wow. So that
honestly, it was golden again because my mum managed to help out with the school. And it shows like the benefits of like the school system in the UK sometimes. So he went to this local school. Like Amersham was, you know, it's a sort of like picture postcard, sort of like town, 10, 20,000 people, boring as hell, but lovely. And the school was like
the main Quito and the bar.
The main reason like I went there was this sort of like halfway between London where I was going to work and where my family live. But then also I knew the schools around there were just amazing. So my mum managed to get him into this school and literally had this like one of like the teacher's assistants with him 2 hours a day, just like dedicated to him. Just like
he spoke Spanish?
No, just purely
just to help
but he was just dedicated to him one-on-one for 2 hours a day.
Oh, that's nice.
In like, you know, state school system.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
There were amazing. They were very patient. And then I remember when we got there and what's the name of the person in charge of the school?
Headmistress.
I said to her that I wasn't sure that Martin was going to be all right there. He was one of the youngest of the class, so I thought maybe he could go like back a year or so. And she said to me, "Don't worry, he's going to be fine. He's going to learn the language very easily. You'll be surprised with how easy it is for them, you know, for children to learn."
And did he learn it
quickly?
Now, did he come home speaking English and you were like, not? Who learned English faster, you or your son?
Because we were.
Would you speak English together?
No.
Okay.
It's been Spanish always with my children and with James.
Yeah.
When we're here at home, I just speak Spanish.
So if you start speaking Spanish now, that means you're kicking off. And I've said something wrong, and then you're like, get this guy out of here.
We used to do that in England, and you know, his family they didn't like that.
What, us speaking
Spanish? When you start speaking Spanish?
Yeah.
What would they be like?
One, they wouldn't understand a word we were saying because, none of them speak any languages. But, they'd normally detect that we were probably having a bit of a Barney, basically.
Yeah. And could you go to hands everywhere like and then?
Oh, I do that, yeah. Do you remember your father? He used to make fun of me.
Oh, yeah, he used to take the piss out of you all the time.
So apart from getting it, did you enjoy anything about England? Now, I know the family are really nice, but did you enjoy anything about England where you think, oh, this is really nice?
Nature. And, it's lovely. I really like London.
No.
It's such a beautiful city.
Would you be a city girl or like out in the countryside more? Because where you're from Quito?
I'm not from Quito, actually. I come from a small town on the coast, and we moved to the capital city when
Okay.
I was a teenager. I'm actually a small town girl.
Okay, so that must have been all
But
right.
I prefer life in a big city because, I don't like having to talk to my neighbours.
You don't like that?
No,
I'm
no.
not a fan of that either.
No. So I do like having private
Yeah.
life, and you can't do that when you live in a small town. So I do prefer the city, definitely. I like living here because of that.
What was something that when you got to England was just really hard to understand? Day to day things that maybe you would come home and you would complain to him, go, I can't believe this has happened today. And then you would go, yeah, this is just
I
what
didn't
happened.
like people over there, to be honest. I just thought they're very polite,
Yeah.
They're really polite, but that doesn't mean that they are nice, And I just didn't like them. I
anyone?
also hated most people, not everybody, but most people.
Don't start speaking Spanish now. Well, you can. It'd be funny. I don't know what you're saying. Like, that's a funny
I
thing.
do find it hard to, get along with
Yeah.
other people, mainly British people.
I think it was particularly difficult where we lived, like in Amersham.
Maybe, that was.
It's very stuck up, like lots of money there.
Oh, really?
So
I wouldn't survive.
Maybe that was
If it's any consolation.
I didn't like it either. My best mate, the ones we went to Argentina with, they live in the same town, and the four of us would get together and just complain about everyone else. Because all the conversation at the school gate was, what am I having done to my house and how big my mortgage is and what kind. It's like, Jesus Christ. So I think that was a bit of a symptom of Amersham. Because like when we went up north, for example, to like Liverpool, Manchester, you
over there,
just
they're so different.
Different class.
Yeah, even like Aylesbury.
I like to live in Manchester or
well, you
Liverpool.
couldn't because of the weather.
That was depressing.
Like even in Aylesbury, going to my dad's like local pub, which was like, proper spit and sawdust. You'd like it more there because everyone was just like down to earth and
I
genuine.
want to live there in Aylesbury.
There's no way I was going to move back.
He said no.
Is that where you're from, Aylesbury?
Aylesbury, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was a fucking dump, mate. No chance I was going back there.
See?
Was there any things like, did you ever meet anybody there? Like, you got homesick, I'm sure, because you were there for
9
years.
9 years.
Did you ever, when you got homesick, did you ever have anyone? Did you ever find anyone, like Spanish or anybody over there that you could sort of talk to or relate to a little bit? Or did you ever find anyone?
We met there's 2 or 3 Latin families over there. But again, I couldn't find things in common with them.
Right.
They were more like people over there, British people than me. And no, I was going to say that I do have some positive things to say about England. I do. No, it's not the weather.
Definitely not.
Food. It's not the food.
That's the next question, but I'll get to that.
I like how well organised everything is.
Okay.
I really like how easy it's to get any document. Like you can apply for a passport and then it's sent to you home and, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like no fuss, no problems at all. It's just so easy, modern and
just worlds away from Ecuador, isn't it?
I love that.
Yeah.
Even here, it's like, this country is not a first world country. Sometimes it's more like Ecuador than England.
Yeah.
So,
the bureaucracy that goes on here is unbelievable.
It's insane.
Yeah, and it's really well organised and clean. People know how to behave properly over there. And sometimes I did like the fact that they value silence. Quiet.
Right.
But sometimes I hated it. Like, they are so against noise. They would complain about neighbours having a party or having fun. Or,
Right.
So, yeah,
that sounds like
always
me.
a good thing. Right?
That sounds like me in my house.
Switch, yeah.
What are they doing? What's going on outside? That's funny. But the food, so the food had to have been, like, do you like we're good with the Ecuadorian food straight away?
No, not
Were you able to get anything in England that you would be able to get at home to make yourself feel a bit more at home?
I can cook.
Yeah.
I'm a good cook, am I?
Yeah, very good, yeah.
So...
Good answer. Correct answer.
Right answer. And I tried to, to find the ingredients I use regularly. It wasn't a problem. My problem was going out, for lunch or dinner, because I didn't enjoy much the lack of flavors over there.
Yeah.
Because, you like your food like really bland. And that was...
You're generalising here because I don't as well.
Okay.
We're not listen, Greg's is good.
Greg's is amazing.
Did you ever go to Greg's? No.
Yeah.
The place? No.
Yeah, we had one in Amersham. We definitely went there.
Yeah,
I'd go in and buy 3 sausage rolls myself
Yeah,
and ask if you wanted anything.
And like, no, thank you. That's not the kind of things.
First person I've ever met who didn't like Greg's. I think that's fair. But no, things aren't seasoned as well. I'll give you that. Things aren't seasoned as well in England as they are here.
No,
or
definitely not.
Anywhere else for
Definitely
that
not.
matter.
Definitely.
We all know that you're, afraid of them.
Is there anything you would have liked in England?
Spicy.
Any English food that you would have liked?
No, not really.
Curry?
Curry?
I didn't mind curry.
Is it British food?
It's a bastardised English version.
Indian, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, Chinese. Good Chinese. And
Good Chinese, good Indian. What is English food? What is English food, though? No.
Roast dinner, English breakfast, best food in the world.
Boiled beyond recognition.
Keep your ceviche and then cebollada. Give me bangers and mash any day of the week. Far better.
Depends on the weather. English food is made for cold weather.
Yes,
I think.
100%.
Stews and hearty pies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's quite heavy, and it's fattening as well.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. So, all right, so 9 years in the UK, and then you decide, what made you move back here? Or what made, so you've gone Ecuador, England, now you're back in the US. Like, what made you back to the US? Was it work?
It was basically works. The company I was working at, we had an office over here. And my boss, like the CEO, we had quite a senior team in the UK. So he was basically working through some of the other directors, asking them if they wanted to go over for a few months just to shore it up. One reason or another, none of them could do it. And then we were just having a beer one day and he was like, a bit random, but you wouldn't do it, would you? And honestly, it hadn't even crossed my mind. But I was like, let me go and speak to the missus and see what she says. And as soon as I said, like, you fancy going to New York for 2 years? She was like, yeah, please get me out of Amersham. Like, because she...
At that point, 9 years.
She just struggled so much with Amersham, like how quiet it was, how like the neighbours were and everything. So that was basically it. So I went into the office next day and said, yeah, let's do it. But it was only supposed to be for 2 years originally.
That's the same as the last thing, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So what was your profession before you moved to the UK?
Journalist.
So you were a journalist in Ecuador on the microphones?
Radio.
Radio, okay.
Yeah.
See, so you were on the radio. Did you do anything like that in England? Were you able to continue?
No, not at all, because,
Yeah.
you need to... You have to speak the language correctly, properly, and it's your main tool at work.
Yeah.
So I knew it wasn't going to, to happen there. But I thought I could get something in Spanish. But then we live in Amersham. Amersham is a small town.
Yeah.
So there weren't like opportunities for me over there, and going to London wasn't going to, to be a possibility because I had my child,
Oh,
the first one, and then I had the second one.
Well, exactly. You were pregnant with Alex, weren't you? Like 7 months after we moved back? So at that point, we also sort of made the decision because we didn't have a pot to piss in when we got back, like nothing.
Right.
So the decision was like, I'll go out and work. Just work my ass off.
Son's okay.
And honestly, the cost of like sending him to nursery, whatever she could have done. Exactly. So we just made that choice to divide and conquer that way. But
without throwing a grenade in. What sort of strain does that put on the two of you at that point?
It's funny, at that point, no, I don't think it did at that point. It does now, because that was the agreement we had 14 years ago. And like, we're definitely not getting into that because that's definitely an argument.
No, I'm not getting it. You start talking Spanish. Yeah, smart man.
We're back away from that. No, at that point, it wasn't tension. I think the bigger issue was, I probably just didn't spend enough time at home.
Right.
Because I was working down in Richmond at the time, so I had to drive around the M25 every day. So I was leaving like 6 a.m, getting home at 8 o'clock at night. So I was no help at home whatsoever.
Yeah. It's not exaggerating.
She didn't speak any English, so it wasn't just like looking after the kids, but then, going shopping and speaking to the parents at school, like it was a big burden on her. So it wasn't a tension in terms of one of us is working, the other one isn't. It's more like we just weren't spending enough time together.
Let's just say, and everything that gave you the impetus to move to Ecuador and spend time with you, and then everything that convinced you that moving to England was the right thing was just like gone.
Sort of, yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to bring light to it and make it miserable, but I'm just saying that's what it is. And
it's true.
So,
it's true.
So you get the call and you get the nod to come back here. I bet you couldn't get here. I bet you make a phone call and your bags were packed by the time you got home.
Pretty much. It was like, honestly, we just had to tidy things up at home, sort the house out, sort out work, and then we were over back into 2018. So from him having a chat with me, 4 months later, we were over.
That's great.
Yeah, but then there was one reason that made the whole thing attractive to me. Because my sister lives in Toronto, Canada. Yeah. So I was really excited about, being a bit closer to her and her family. And I really wanted that. I needed that. Mm. And
There are a few things. I think, one, the two of us just get very itchy feet. Even now, are we going to stay in the US long term? Where do we go next? And it's a nice thing, actually, speaking languages and coming from different places, sort of like, and, we like going to new places. So it could be anywhere. So that was part of the attraction. But honestly, I think another thing was it's almost like neutral territory, right? So in Ecuador, it'd be her family and her friends and her parties. And I'd sort of like, it'd be fun for half hour and then I'd be stuck in the corner just getting pissed on my own. And it'd be the same in England, right? Exactly. It's the same in England. She got on brilliantly with my family, but it's like she couldn't understand all the in-jokes and the old stories, particularly when we get pissed up and stuff.
What was moving back to a place like Jersey City where there are people from all over the place? Like Jersey City's the most, diverse city in the country, they say?
Yeah.
If you read the news...
To be honest.
But what was it like for you? I mean, yes, you're close to your sister, but was it a big positive for you getting back here, like in Jersey City?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there are some things I really like about living here, and so many others I hate. But
please tell me. Please say it.
Because what is good about having so many, different people from very different countries is that you do have plenty of choices about food. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah. But at the same time, it's chaotic. Neighbors are so different to you.
Yeah.
It's quite noisy here.
See, you're like Amersham.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
looking
a bit too much. Exactly. It's like, can we get some balance here?
It's funny because we didn't know anything about this place when we moved over. We didn't even know anything about New York.
Right. Okay.
I'd been over here once for work before, and that was it. Mm-hmm. So we didn't know that it was going to be this multicultural. Literally, we came over one weekend in December, looked at the price in Brooklyn, can't afford that. Manhattan, rule that out. And then there were a couple of people from the office here who lived in Jersey City, and they were like, honestly, why don't you come to Jersey City, really up and coming and whatnot. So it sort of became our first choice, and we came over here, looked at a few places, and that was it. But we knew nothing about it. Right. And it was only when we got here that we was like, wow. I remember, it was soon after we came over, and we were sitting outside having a drink somewhere, and we were just like, Jesus, there is every nationality in the world here just walking past on Newark Avenue.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Just, when we were in Amersham, not that, people were rude about it. I think it's more curiosity. But you'd be in a pub speaking Spanish and people would be looking over. Whereas here, obviously, no one bats an eyelid because there's probably more people who speak Spanish than English here, right? So it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Do you feel like that helped you, though? Gives you a bit of a focus coming back? When you get back here, you talked a little bit about neutral, because it's not exclusively English or exclusively Spanish, South American. Did it help you?
I think the neutral bit is more because it wasn't her place, it wasn't my place.
Right.
So it sort of felt like we're going somewhere starting on an even keel. Neither of us know anyone here. I knew a few people at work, and that was it. So part of the attraction, honestly, was a bit, we're going to spend more time as a family, right? Because we don't know anyone else. We haven't got the distractions of family and all the drama that goes with it back home, and mates wanting to go out and piss or whatever. So that was actually really attractive. Just starting on a sort of level playing field almost, not knowing anything and sort of jumping into it together.
Yeah, and the boys would have been, 16 and 8?
16 and how old was Alex? 7. I think, he's 7 when we moved over.
So they'd have been all right, wouldn't they, as well?
It's funny, Alex was probably the biggest issue. because, he's always been a proper social animal. So even like primary school back there, we had a big group of mates. So he was, it was just more difficult for him than any of us, I think, to move over. But he took to it like a duck to water. As soon as he got over here, suddenly he had like 20 mates because everyone was just intrigued by this English kid.
And he thought that we were going back to England.
We did,
So
because originally he was
spending a couple of years here, and then he would go back to the same school with the same friends, because nothing changes in Amersham,
I love it. Listen, I go back, I've been here for 22 years now. I go back, same people sat in the same
100%.
places, in the same pub, doing the same thing. I know. How did your son take to that? Because he's gone from Ecuador, moved at the age of 9, did you say? Gone to England for 9 years. Technically, he's lived in England longer than he lived in Ecuador. Yes. Then he moved, so he's 6 when he moves back here, and now he's, say, 22 now. Yeah. How was his sort of transition over here from back to England? Was it tough?
No.
Was he just...
Martin is he's an introverted person, so he just needs to have his own bedroom, and that's fine. I mean, he doesn't really care about other people or the town or the city where he's living in. He
just does his own thing.
Yeah, the two of them couldn't be more different.
But it's easy to manage though. He just found his way.
He's so cool with stuff. Like, we came over, got him into a school. You ask him how's it going? It's like, it's all right. It's fine. Got a good with a good diploma at high school. Went to university up here in Jersey City. Came out with honours. But he'd never tell us anything he's doing. Yeah. You wouldn't know what he's doing at college or school or whatever.
He just doesn't say.
Yeah. There if there's any drama, but never find out anything that's going on in his life.
What sort of things did you two, because you, again, neutral ground, what sort of things do you sort of help each other through? Like, what crazy things about Americans? I mean, apart from some of the obvious stuff, like they're all mental, but what sort of things did you start to see in America? Like, what crazy things about America did you notice early on?
Mate, honestly, so loud.
So loud. Yeah, the Americans, but just loud in general, right? I remember the first month, honestly, I was like, what the f*** have we walked into? It was the first month we were here. Your sister and brother-in-law came down. And in the first month, it was tragic, some of the stuff that was happening. There was a kid at Alex's school who died. Do you remember that? In one of the K1, K2 class, just fell asleep there in a siesta and never woke up. There was the shooting in the mall, in the food court. This is in our first month. And then there was another day, all in this first month, where I was at the World Trade Center bus station, and I thought there'd been a terrorist attack. So I had my headphones in, and then suddenly everyone started running in one direction, and basically someone had fallen on the track. And all these people went down, lifted this person up, they're all run out to the train. This was 3 things in the first month, and I was like, what? It was mental. So there was just loads of crazy shit going on, and it settled down. But honestly, adjusting, I think we found it really easy. I think because again, Amersham was so quiet, so boring. For us just being in the city, exciting. Bars everywhere, restaurants everywhere, all this noise, stupid things just going on in Newark Avenue on a random basis on a Saturday afternoon. It was everything was so exciting. So it didn't really feel like a tough adjustment in the slightest. It was really easy.
A place where people just make noises for fun, exactly. So I'm quite used to it. To enjoy it. Yeah, it was all right. It was like home here.
It's a little bit closer as well. Do you get to see your sister much in Toronto?
Yeah, I do. We go there for Christmas.
Go for Christmas every year.
They come here sometimes as well.
Because you can technically drive.
We drive every time,
We do that. It's easier and more convenient.
Yeah, it's not stop at Buffalo, see the Niagara Falls and then carry on.
We've done that. We've done that before. Yeah, we did that last year, didn't we? Niagara Falls.
What's the maddest place you've been to since you've been here? Because you see, the thing is with America or the US, everywhere, it's on the TV everywhere, isn't it? Right? You see all the things.
Yeah.
What have you done so far since you've been here that's okay, this is like being on the movies?
That's a good question.
Is it going into the city? Because that, to me, is crazy.
I remember the first time I came here, it was literally that. It's like I'm in a film set.
Yeah.
Times Square and all that. It was just amazing. I'm trying to think where else. Philadelphia, loved that. But, not because it was weird. It was just because I'm a massive fan of Rocky. It was that was the first place we had to go to. Weird places. No, she had to film me running up the steps and everything.
Yeah, there were like
from the bottom or the top?
20 men doing it. And wives.
How many times did you have to
Oh,
do
mate,
it?
I did it in one take. I nailed
like
it.
natural.
Nailed it. I've watched it so many times. I nailed it.
Was it more like, you better get this right the first time?
100%. And then the kids started running after me, which was fine, because obviously that happens in the film. But then Alex started pushing me and stuff. I'm like, son, that doesn't happen in the film. Keep distance. But weird places. Trying to think.
Weird.
Or just good, like cool, like just places where you like for me, I've been to Buffalo but never been to Niagara Falls.
Right.
So I've never seen Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
my thing was like the Ghostbusters fire station for me.
No, Rocky Steps was definitely the main one. Miami we really liked, didn't we? No?
No,
Oh, you didn't like it?
no, I really. No, I was going to say that it's a beautiful country. It's huge. And we've been to many places because we really enjoy traveling and, seeing new places, new things. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm not going to say.
How far is it to Ecuador from here? 5, 6?
6 hours and something.
Much
Are you
easier.
able to go back? Do you get back?
She goes quite often. Yeah.
Once this year, I went there last November,
Yeah.
December, and then went back because we bought a small house over there. So
See, you're
I get reason to go there.
1,000,000%.
Well, you're going over in a couple of weeks as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I love traveling around there. I think we've got to the point where there's probably another couple of cities we want to do. Like, I've been to Nashville with work, but I'd love the two of us to go down there, and I want to do New Orleans as well. But then after that, like, I think the cities are a bit much of a muchness. Like, we've done the main one. Chicago we loved as well.
The
That was
place
great.
that I think was quite disappointing is Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Vegas is.
I'm not. We just weren't a fan
Nashville.
of it. So, yeah. Seattle we really liked. We did Seattle and then went up to Vancouver. So obviously not US, but Vancouver was amazing. But I think, the stuff we want to do now is probably more like the national parks and all that, because we haven't done that really. That's the stuff.
That's
I
a
really
nice
want
one,
to do.
Yeah, because didn't have parks over there, do they?
No.
That's a reason for my
Lake
husband to say no
District
to.
Did you? The Lake District, night? Did you go to the Lake District?
We didn't actually. No.
See?
No.
That's in the north as well. So another
I
way to go in the
I
north of
tried
England.
to convince him, but I couldn't.
Everything else about the north of England is brilliant. Everything apart from the weather. So, obviously, you and I have met a good few times now, but there's other mates here as well in Jersey City. What has that done for you to help you out?
I'd tell you the main thing, like the thing that I probably missed the most about back home, apart from the obvious, like family and friends, I think I mentioned it earlier, like just the humour.
Yeah.
Like you can't have the same like rapport with Americans because they just don't get it.
Yeah,
They don't get the sarcasm. They don't get the black humour.
You have to explain everything.
You have to explain it, and then they like look at you like you're talking seriously. I was like, no, sorry, mate, that was a joke. It's they just don't get it.
Yeah.
So it's that banter. That's what I love about hanging around with English people. Honestly, I think it's the best export we've got.
Yeah.
I think
Humour.
most of us are quite funny. Like maybe not me, but I think humour is our best export. Honestly, just the sarcasm, the darkness of it.
I agree.
I just don't think a lot of other countries get it, particularly not here.
Yeah.
So
it does help, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like having that little community and being able to
100%.
know when you can go to a place.
Yeah.
Does that help you? And I know like you don't, generate all the nonsense, but like people like, take Ralph C, for example. Or
Oh, she loves Ralph C. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Ralph C, because he's just an absolute whirlwind.
He's just a genuine guy. You get on brilliantly with him, don't you?
It's a character. Andy.
Ralph's
How do you
is
call
his
him?
surname, Ralphie.
I call him
Who
Ralph.
is it? Who is it?
Andy.
Yes, I'm leaving that bit. No, Andy.
He's such a lovely person. He's very kind. He's sweet. He's funny.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
just
him
genuine. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. It's hard to find, isn't it? When you do find people like
This
that.
is it. It's like, the bar culture here I love. Like the fact you sit at a bar and you can just speak to some rando, right? But it's like with the Americans, it's sort of like, okay, maybe you get half hour out of it. And then it's
15
like just so forced
It's like
after that.
they are like your best friend for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
They laugh, they are loud, and they're, very interesting, very interested in the conversation. Then
Interested
they
in
stop.
themselves a lot of the
They
time.
stop, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
No, there's no. That's as far as it
Or
goes.
to bring up the size of their 401k in the first 15 minutes, it's like, okay, you've lost me now, mate.
Yeah, I have no interest in. Yeah, no, I know. I have no interest in
It's
the body.
just our banter is just like much more down to earth.
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
you could have the best job. And this is the good thing as well. Like, I have no idea. Like you're saying about all this stuff, I have no idea what you do.
No. No, I
Right.
don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't interest
It's
me.
not a thing, is it?
No, it just doesn't
It's like
interest me. It's
that's
like,
the first question is, where do you go to school? What do you do for work?
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
how big's your house? When are you going to retire? Fuck
I
off.
know. So you guys have been together now for so 9 years, no, 6 years here, 9 years in England, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, been married,
17, say on and off 17 years? 17 years?
Married 15 or 16? 15.
Sorry to bring that up.
Come on, you were there.
2009.
You were there when we got married. You should.
So is there any like just where you've just had to laugh at each other's differences? Like you obviously have the ways of doing things. Like, is there any way, so for every frown and every scowl that maybe you have when he does something, or eye roll, is there anything ever that you just like, okay, get on with it, it's fine, it's just the way that he is, or it's the way that you are?
Gosh, James can be so annoying. He's very impatient. He's really impatient, like you wouldn't believe it.
So,
And it's funny because his work, it dependent on technology, but he's
Right.
not good at it. He can be such a dinosaur and gets really impatient. So it's funny to sit
I'm
here
not
trying to
disagreeing
do
at all.
anything. Like last time, what was it we were doing? Trying to book a trip to Cancun.
oh yeah, fuck
And-
that. You
right.
can do that.
And he was just losing his mind. And I was like, just do it. Like, go to the app and do this, do that. And it's not working, trying with his fat finger. And that is like,
It painted a very good picture.
I can see it.
I don't disagree with any of that.
Brilliant.
It's bang on.
And I
Bang on.
said, just close the application and try again. And he's like, how do I do that? Like,
I don't know.
know.
I'm quite so impressed by all this shit, mate.
Oh, mate, honestly, listen, like I said to you, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time with this stuff. I'm just hoping it's recorded all
It
right.
looks impressive.
What are you, here's one for you then.
Yeah.
You can be nice to each other with this one. Is what are you most proud of each other for? Given, like, because listen, not a lot of, like, relationships, marriages, you've literally took, because kids will take priority, you've gone from, lived in one country,
Yep.
moved your wife to another country with her kid, then had another child, then moved back to a different country that neither of you are from.
Yep.
Like, what are you most proud of each other for during that time? Because that's a 17-year period of a lot of transition, more so than a lot of other people, right?
I think in general, like whether it's within the context of like moving geographies or just in general, right? I'm really proud of like, what the sort of progress that we've made as a family. Try and explain what I mean. Like, as I said earlier, like when we met and when we first moved to the UK, like we didn't have a pot to piss in. Like we just had debts up to our eyeballs and like the visa stuff and everything. And it was just the fact that we approached it like a team. It's like, right, I'm going to go out, work my arse off. She sort of accepted that her career was going to have to be put on hold to look after the kids or whatever, and because she didn't speak English. And we just worked it out. When we look back at it now, like, we're living in the US and we're doing all right. It's like, yeah, we've done really well together. Yeah. And also, I just think, the way the kids have been brought up, like,
I adore my children. Very
she adores them. I detest them most of the time, but no, I do adore them. But no, we're really proud of like what they've both achieved, and like a lot of that is down to her. Like the amount of like time and effort and dedication she put into it when I was out of work, just earning a crust and trying to like get us back on an even keel, basically.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
what would you say, Maira?
I'm very proud of my family. I think we are a lovely family, and I think
I'm very humble.
Yeah.
I'm proud of being the mom that I am.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect at all, of course. I'm not trying to say here that I'm a perfect mom, because I'm not. My children are here; they can tell you. But I've learned to be a bit more patient, because of them, for them, and I think they just don't love me. They love me and they like me as well, and they know that they can trust me.
Yeah.
And come to me when they have any problems.
It's a good answer, that.
Very good.
Better than your answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do for, you know what, I didn't even think about this one. What do you do for holidays? Christmas?
No, well, we probably do more of the English way. The only difference, actually, like Ecuador to to the UK, like when you compare it to other cultures, a lot of the stuff isn't that different. So the only difference would be Christmas. You do it at midnight, don't you? Like the dinner.
We have dinner at midnight.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah. And then the kids, when do the kids
That's
open their presents and stuff?
They can do it after midnight.
After midnight.
Yeah, if they are.
We were never allowed to get up
No.
until like 7 in the morning,
Yeah,
6 in the morning.
Yeah.
If they're still awake, of course, they can open the presents, or they can wait until the next morning and then,
Interesting.
But yeah, we probably do it more the English way, don't we? We do the dinner more on Christmas Day rather
but
than doing...
because you can't wait to start drinking like before midday.
That's fair.
You get called out now.
That's fair.
Who does the Christmas dinner?
No, I've actually done it the last couple of years, haven't I? I don't cook anything, mate. I'm a terrible cook. But
It's terrible.
last year I did all of it, didn't I? But normally, like, it's she's a great cook.
Was his Christmas dinner any good? Was
It was good.
Yeah, it was actually all right, mate. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Which place did you get it from?
Straight out of the deli.
He can cook one dish, and it's a recipe from Jamie Oliver's book.
Okay.
Sausage pasta.
Yeah,
It's great, though.
bloke pasta.
Bloke's
something
pasta.
like
Yeah.
that.
I do a good
That's the
fry.
name of it.
Do a good fry up as well.
He cooks like once a year, but he didn't do it last year, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
That's why I did Christmas dinner.
We'll see.
What's one thing? That's funny. What would be one thing from your upbringing that you want to keep consistent through both of your sons?
They are respectful, they're kind, and they're generous. And of course, I want them to, just continue being like that.
Yeah.
They are decent human beings, and that's always been my purpose, to raise good human beings, decent people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
They have a wonderful relationship.
That's
They have
right.
a great relationship. They are respectful of each other's space, and then they're still like playing together,
Yeah.
and then they have a really good relationship.
Yeah.
And I do try to, to remind them of the importance of having that kind of relationships.
Yeah.
See, because they're gonna have each other forever, and it's fantastic to have a sibling that is also a very good friend.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What about you? Watford fans?
Oh, Watford fans, definitely. The
Does he
youngest
have a
one.
choice?
No. No choice whatsoever, mate.
Have you ever go to watch
Children.
Watford?
Yeah.
You like soccer? or-
Unfortunately, and I do like soccer, and I was against him. How do you say? Like,
Making him a Watford fan.
Oh, really?
exactly. Because, why would you do that to your own child? To condemn him to a life of suffering and depression.
We were watching it this
Kids.
morning.
Don't disagree with you.
We were
I
watching it
don't
this
disagree
morning
with
at
you.
7:30. He's as passionate about it as I am. And,
It is.
for me, it's a good
Um,
life lesson following a team like that.
Oh, you learn a lot about.
More downs and ups, definitely.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
he's English and he's also Ecuadorian, and we both have.
Shit national team supports Watford, and now
It's like,
we're following the
my
devil,
God.
so you can't win on any level. No, there's that. I think the other thing that's really important for me is, similar to what Myra said, but it's that sort of understanding where you've come from, and the old thing about don't forget your roots, right? Because she came from nothing, like money wise. It's not being disrespectful, but that's true, right? You didn't grow up.
Not
in
many-
any sort of
not
riches
many
at
of us
all.
did.
No,
That's the reality, right?
I had a comfortable upbringing, but dad was a builder, mum was a secretary. We had enough to get by, but that was it. Whereas these two have probably got a much more privileged upbringing than we had, and it's making sure they don't forget that sometimes.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of occasions where I've lost my shit about it. It's like when we went to Cancun
So they
once.
didn't know the real.
So it's all inclusive, and you get
Possible.
like the free bathrobes and the flip flops, and he goes, "Oh, these flip flops don't fit me." I was like, "You fucking privileged little." So stuff like that, just
Yeah.
keeping grounded, and I think that's going to be particularly important for Alex. Because I think the US in general, because everyone's talking about their wealth and all that, it's not the most equitable country in terms of equality and stuff like that. So that's what we need to keep reminding him, like, be generous, remember where you come from, and, respect others, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, to be kind.
I don't think it's some of the best qualities about this country, frankly. So it's like pushing back a little bit on that.
Well, the good thing is neither of you are American, so you might
No, that's true.
you're not going
That's
to push
true.
that one through.
That's
Right?
true.
They need to understand that the real value of money. Also, they have to understand that there are people that don't have these privileges, like traveling and staying at nice places and eating out when they fancy you and stuff like that, or just having a place that's paid for by your parents without having to worry about that. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
And they do need to understand that, because Martin is 22 now and he's looking for a job, and he's been doing that for
Not
a
very
year
hard.
now.
It's tough though, isn't it? And the funny thing is though, around here, even where we are around here, there's people that it's very much the haves and the have-nots as well, isn't it?
100%. 100%. I think, honestly, we talked about a lot of the sort of things we don't like as well as the things you like here. That's the one thing I still can't get my head around. I'm not a particularly moralistic person or anything, but you got all these people who talk about how good they are and they believe in all these systems and initiatives, and then you walk down the street and you see the same guy who's been lying there for the 6 years we've been here, and there's no fucking net to catch them. It does my head in. I just don't understand how that works.
Yeah,
I'm not saying the UK's perfect, but I think we certainly got it better down there than they do have here.
Yeah, it's and that's tough. Juggling kids now in this area.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of people who've got
a
decent amount of money and they don't push on the same lessons as you guys.
Exactly, man.
All right, without getting into too much trouble, looking ahead, where do you see yourselves in, I don't know, call it 5-10 years time? 5 years time.
Do you want to take that or should I do it? Well, we've talked about it a lot recently, right? So I don't...
You better get this right, otherwise it'll be a problem.
Well, one, I don't think we'll be here in 5 or 10 years' time. We've loved this place, but it's just lost a bit of that spark. I think it's just natural with any place, right? After you've been there a certain amount of years. So we sort of said, once Alex has finished high school, that's probably going to be the cut-off point for us.
Right.
But in terms of where after that, she's said, we were actually chatting about this last night. She's like, I'm not going back to Amersham. That's an issue because we still got a house there. Ecuador, that could be nice further down the line, but, it's not going to be great to work. My ideal, but we haven't really fathomed this out yet, is, retire in Spain, which, I'm getting old, so it's not that far away now, but that's the ideal. Yeah. Whether we get there or not, we'll see.
I like the way you're saying all this while you're away at the free.
Wait for the mic. Yeah, please. But it definitely won't be here because I don't want to grow old here. With the health system and all that shit. Absolutely not.
I love my country, and it would be great, to go back there. But I know that it's not safe for him or my children, so I wouldn't do that to them to force them to go to Ecuador. I hope that the situation changes and things get better. England, I do like the idea of going there once a year and, stay for a couple of weeks and then...
I like the idea of splitting time. I've always thought about that, get a smaller place here and a smaller place in England and just split the time between the two. Yeah. I like the idea of that.
I think that would be perfect.
Yeah, I think the only thing with that for us, we're probably not bothered about having roots here, because we haven't bought here because in hindsight we probably should have done when we first came over, but we thought we were only going to be here for 2 years and then 5 years, and now here we are 6.5 years, and now it's okay, well, Alex has got high school, so it's another 4 years, but it's probably too late to buy now. So I think once we leave here, that's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
And then, but that's a good thing. It's like we talked about with all of this, we jumped from one country to another, and it's probably well, where next now?
Yeah.
Is it Spain? Is it Italy? Is it Portugal? We talked about that. All of those, I'll be bang up for. It's just, what you do for work. But retirement, once I finally get there, it's definitely going to be one of those. I think.
And that's a great advantage to be married to someone like me, because I'm when I'd be with.
No, it's cool. It is good. But we'll see, won't we? 4 more years. You've got 4 more years.
I don't know what the future holds. Things might change work-wise and stuff. Yeah. Maybe, the political climate and everything gets better. So, maybe we'll fall in love with it again.
I think we're all very hopeful of that, but we'll see.
We are, mate. But
listen, thank you so much.
No, pleasure.
For this. I really appreciate it. I know you were going backwards and forwards about it, but I do appreciate you helping me out with it. It's been a good laugh.
I've really enjoyed it, mate. I don't
want you fighting after.
Definitely no fighting.
So, normally what we do, or what I normally do after everyone, is I ask a couple of quick questions to see, what the answers come out. So, what's one British habit, Maira, that Jim does that drives you absolutely crazy?
Think of anything.
I'm so perfect.
I've got so many
So
things
perfect.
that annoy me every day, but it's hard to just,
Pick
you
one.
know, exactly.
I can't wait for this one. Sorry. What's one Ecuadorian habit that Maira has that you still can't get used to?
Like,
Oh, mate, it's the punctuality thing again. It drives me fucking bananas. And I'm so glad you asked the question why. And she couldn't give a straight answer to it apart from being a bit distracted. It drives me absolutely mad. And it's never going to change. You know, I think over the years I've sort of like adjusted a bit to that. But for example, you know, if we've got to be at a wedding at 2, I'll say it starts at 12. Knowing if I say 12, we will get there by 2. Do you know, you adjust for it, right? But it still drives me mad.
Who's able to speak the language better? Who is your Spanish or your English better?
I think her English is better than my
I'm
Spanish.
not sure. I think her Spanish is almost perfect.
Your English is pretty good.
It is alright, but I think your Spanish is also really good. Because you know that he
Lived in Spain.
not just that, he studied Spanish at university. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I see.
that's how I spoke it, yeah.
But you also said the right thing because you said her English is...
No, I honestly think her English is better. I think because I only speak Spanish with her, and we're normally arguing. So there's like, you know, there'll be a week where we don't actually speak to each other. I speak far more English than I do Spanish. I'm not so in practice anymore. So I do find like, you know, I forget words that, you know, I should know easily, right? Whereas I think because you're here in a country where it is English speaking, I just think you're doing it every day and your English is better as a result. But that's opinions.
What's one thing you miss from home? Home.
Food. Definitely food.
I'd probably say food as well, actually. You know, humour first, but like we said earlier, like I've got English mates, you got your dose of that. It probably would be the food, like proper curry, proper fish and chips, proper Greg sausage roll.
Ceviche for me.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with either of those things, you know. I can go both ways on this.
Absolutely.
Who's the best dancer?
100%.
Oh, me.
100%.
Gosh.
No humility on that
Well,
one.
that's
No.
one thing I don't like about him. Dance, and he's not willing to learn to dance.
6'3" guys aren't very renowned for. How big are your feet?
Oh, 11.
Huge.
Problem. Yeah.
No, I can't dance. And I don't even try to. And actually, that was one thing about Ecuador as well that I hated, but sort of respected at the same time. Every party, everyone dances.
Oh, we love
Everyone
it. We love
dances.
Where you're in the corner, just like this, holding a beer.
Just at the bar. Just no way. And it also drove her mad in the UK.
Yeah,
that people
just
go to the pub and just sit there and drink. She's like, why aren't people dancing?
Maira, this one's for you. Who's your favourite ever Watford player?
I have no idea because I don't really care.
Just say John Barnes. John Barnes.
He's the one up on the
His
ball in
favourite.
Bedford.
Is he?
The only one you probably know is Troy Deeney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you had to do a duet on a karaoke, what song would you sing?
Oh, we've done
We
it.
did it once.
Kiki D and Elton John. Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Tango breaking my heart.
Yeah.
That was good. Interesting. All right. And then the last one. This is going to be great. Describe your relationship in 3 words.
Pants.
Tempestuous, fiery.
Just everything about being married to a Latin woman, basically, isn't it?
Latin and,
we're very
Latin and
passionate.
Irish,
The two of
basically.
us. It's not just me.
It's not one way.
I mean, you need to. What is it? That phrase about tango?
Two
to
to
tango.
tango.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not.
So fiery,
Just me.
tempestuous, intense.
Yeah, they're probably all the same 3, right?
I think that'll do,
Well,
to be fair.
Yeah.
That's 3. All right, guys, listen, thank you so much.
Pleasure, man.
That was brilliant.
No, I
That
really
was
enjoyed
class.
it. Really enjoyed it, mate.
All right,
So-
if you're coming out and buy a glass of wine, no dancing, no, I'll tell you
No,
that.
definitely no dancing.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you or someone you know has a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us via our socials or visit www.crossingthepondpodcast.com to get in touch. Please be sure to subscribe, like, or leave a comment if you can. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Across Pond Podcasting.